Conchetta, Bria, that ballroom is right behind me. This is where people were sent screaming, pouring into the streets, running for their lives when that 72-year-old gunman decided to shoot and kill 10 people, wounding 10 others. And it didn't stop here. In a town called Alhambra, not too far from here, he decided to have another shooting. Yes, and the California National Guard has been here for at least 5 days. You can see their vehicles behind me, and come around this way. You can still see that 6-foot fence wrapped around the Capitol. And then to my right over here, the National Guard protecting every inch of Sacramento. That protest is happening right now. Over a dozen parents and students are here protesting, demanding that 5 days a week in-person learning starts immediately now. But dozens of parents and students, like you said, were here at the district building, and this is what they left behind. Their signs taped to the walls and the doors of the district building, pleading and demanding that they reopen schools 5 days a week for in-person learning. I'm Monica Coleman on Broadway in Sacramento at Zandy Bar, where their business was broken into Sunday morning. You can see the aftermath behind me. The window is boarded up here with a sign that reads "Glass intact, armed guard security on site 24/7. Alarms and cameras are active 24/7. And speaking of alarms, you can see now you have to ring the doorbell to get inside, an extra layer of precaution. And walk with me this way. You can see there's another warning sign saying a security camera in use with a blue flashing light. But take a look inside. You can see all the lights are on, trying to discourage anybody from robbing this business again. Across the town of Uvalde, there are several memorials honoring the 21 lives lost 2 weeks ago today. From when you first come into town, there's 21 white crosses to the massive display at the plaza. Yeah, while the electrifier continues to burn this morning, you can see and smell the smoke from the Italian picnic grounds. This is where people are being asked to evacuate. Deputies throughout the night were knocking on doors, telling people they needed to leave their homes. And here at the evacuation center is where I met Paul Keaton. He is the Red Cross shelter manager. And Paul, tell me about the resources you have here for those who are in need. Bria, good morning. So we are now learning that the police are identifying the 3 victims of that shooting as 2 adults and 1 young juvenile. They also say that the suspect has been detained. And this morning I was able to meet with a resident, a neighbor who's lived here for 30 years. Your name is Leon. Leon, yes. What happened this morning from your point of view? Conchetta, while there's still a lot of unknowns when it comes to the gunman's motive, but multiple families are getting that dreadful call from the coroner's office, letting them know their loved one is one of the 10 victims. One step at a time, the town of Monterey Park begins the long journey to healing.
My wife told me that we're marked now as a city that's part of these tragedies. You know, it's I guess we're joining the count, but it's sad. It's not a number you want to be part of.
After a 72-year-old gunman shot and killed 10 people, wounding 10 others after a Lunar New Year celebration, Guillermo Cruz drops to his knees at a growing memorial site, unable to hold back tears.
It's tragically that it had to be a senior that did this. I work with seniors. I've been working with them for about 15 years, and I see how abandoned they are, how alone, and it's an unfortunate situation here, but yeah, that bothers me too, that it was a senior.
This morning, we now know the name of one of those slain by the gunman, Mai Nan. Her family saying she was the first person shot. Going on to say in a statement, Mai was 65 years old. If you knew her warm smile and kindness was contagious. She was a loving aunt, sister, daughter, and friend.
Some people are no longer here. You know, it's a tragic situation that our world is coming to. You know, I think everybody should have been happy COVID was over, but it seems like all these tragedies are happening over after COVID.
2 days after the mass shooting, authorities continue to investigate the gunman's motive. The mayor of Monterey Park, Henry Lowe, says mental health resources are needed for his people.
Mental health exists in all communities, but I will say that you know, probably especially in multicultural communities of color, you know, oftentimes access to meaningful mental health services as well as health and wellness services, it's always a challenge. And again, I don't know the motive of the gunman. You know, was an issue of mental health issues? Who knows? But definitely, it does probably raise awareness.
1 foot at a time, step by step. Cruz says the days will get better, but they may never be the same.
The healing process is what I'm doing, walking and talking to people. You know, just you can't keep it in, so I encourage people to talk.
That's right, Kurt. Here in Chester, it's a ghost town, not just because most of the population has evacuated, but coming into Chester, you see a gray, ghostly screen of smoke leading you into town. And fire crews tell me they don't know when people will be able to return to their homes. With 3 cats, 2 dogs, a turtle, and several birds, pet supply owner Michelle Watkins packed up her family and evacuated Chester. She is now staying in a trailer at an evacuation center in Susanville.
The cats are living in a bathroom in the trailer because it's not our trailer, and they're confined with their cat box and their food and water. The dogs sleep inside with us. The birds and the tortoise all sleep in our car at night. There's no place inside for them.
Watkins says she is worried about her animals and the hot temperatures, and the smoke is making air quality a concern.
I check it every day when I check the temperature. We can put them inside and get them contained. I've had people offer to foster.
Thunderstorms overnight came with high winds, creating an extreme fire event for fire crews. Plumas County announcing they are canceling repopulation for Chester, Lake Ominor West, and Prattville.
We did have 2 new starts last night. They got on very fast. They're in the process of putting a black line around both of them.
Ground access also continues to be a challenge, with burned trees falling onto roads, blocking entries into areas firefighters need to reach. And thick smoke is making it difficult for crews to fight the fire from above.
Yesterday, I believe they dropped about 35,000 gallons of water. So they were working a very active portion of the fire, but when the smoke rolls in, our aircraft can't fly because they can't see the ground.
CAL FIRE says another wind event is expected as soon as Sunday, and they're keeping their eyes closed on the forecast and preparing for it right now.